Nigel Farage is a wonderful broadcaster at GB News, the Brexit leader, the freedom fighter who no doubt is so excited that Joe Biden is going for re-election. He joins us now from London. Will you be switching from the Trump campaign to the Biden blither?
Not with immediacy, no. It's very interesting, isn't it? He says he wants to. He says he wants to finish the job, by which I guess he wants to remove any border at all on the southern border, allow the whole world to walk in. I guess it means he'll allow crime to continue to deteriorate in American cities. He'll allow the judiciary to go on pursuing political prosecutions. Then about finish the job, he might just finish off America and maybe the Western world with it. And the idea that his campaign is based on freedom. Did you see him during the pandemic? He was wearing 2 face masks, and Democrat states were locking down endlessly, whereas Republicans, such as Florida and Texas, allowed people to get on with their lives. And just to sort of really put the icing on the cake, Kamala Harris, apparently the most unpopular vice president in modern history, is going to be his running mate. It is truly incredible that an 80-year-old whose brain does not function properly is being allowed to do this.
We giggle because we're watching the screen here of him falling up the stairs, the single greatest achievement of his presidency, to literally defy gravity. But Nigel, we know that the circumstances leading into the midterms, they were very good for Republicans. Terrible economy, lots of low polling numbers, but they weren't able to convert. How important is it for whoever ends up being the challenger, it's most likely going to be Trump, not just to prosecute the case for why he's not any good, but to start to offer the case of hope, the alternative, because that wasn't offered in 22.
No, I agree. I mean, if you think back to Trump's campaign in 2016, it was, I will be your champion. I'm on your side. I understand, what big corporations and big government have done in your life. And somehow, by 2020 and by the midterms, that message seemed to be missing. It was more about you support me rather than me supporting you, if you see what I mean. So I think what Trump needs to do is to recapture that sense that huge numbers of people have in middle America, as indeed they do in my country and yours, that somehow the capital cities are hopelessly out of touch. And I have to say this, that going on about the stolen election, well, of course, there are all sorts of problems with early voting. We've seen it here too. But I think, your average voter who might swing from Democrat to Republican, they've got 2.4 kids, a mortgage, and they're worried about their job. So, yes, it is about offering hope for the future. Biden clearly cannot do that, and that is what Trump needs to do, and needs to start doing it pretty quickly.
I agree. Remind them of the better economy. Remind them of the better situation pre-pandemic. I think that is the key to pushing some of these polls around and getting things going the other direction. Now, we're all about Meghan Markle. She won't be at the coronation, but over the past couple of days, there's been, confirmation that she, of course, wrote a letter to King Charles, pointing out a whole series of institutional racism, etc., etc. Of course, the princess, whose nose is constantly out of joint, put out a statement of the past recent days. Hopefully we'll whack it up on the screen here, where she essentially confirms all the stories are true, but then pretends there's nothing to see here. The Duchess of Sussex is going about her life in present, not thinking about correspondence from 2 years ago, which means she wrote the letter, or related to conversations from 4 years ago, which means that's what the letter was about. Any suggestion otherwise is false and frankly ridiculous. Go away. What is your thoughts?
Well, look, I mean, actually, Harry himself says, no. We weren't talking about racism. And they've toned down that criticism from the Oprah Winfrey interview. No, what they're really saying is there was unconscious bias within the royal family. Ooh. Now, if you can tell me what that is, I'd be very pleased to hear it. So they have rode back a little bit on this. But look, the fact she may have written a letter to Charles and got one back. I mean, frankly, all of that is becoming really rather boring. And their stock in the west coast of America is falling. And that, of course, is why Harry himself had to come to the coronation, because really they're running out of things to sell to American media and Netflix.
There isn't a wedding that at some point in time doesn't get everyone dancing when this song starts playing. Roll the tape.
But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk
But apparently it has been removed from coronation playlists. Lord, pray tell why?
Yes, you almost there had me stomping around the studio, I have to say. No, I mean, look, you know, we've all done it, haven't we?
Yeah,
you know?
I'm bloody
No, I mean, look, you know, particularly after a couple. But no, the Proclaimers have expressed some quite strong anti-royal sentiment, and this comes at a time when polling out indicates that only about a third of young people in the country feel strong support for the monarchy. So obviously that's the backdrop to why this has now been dropped from the playlist. And I would just say this, that our kids through school and university are told this is a dreadful country. We're the only country in the world that carried out slavery, that the royal family are deeply linked to it. So we're sort of indoctrinating young people that somehow the royal family is bad. Well, the alternative, of course, is that you have a dreary republic with some clapped-out politician, and I'd rather keep it as it is. I just wish our education system was a bit more even-handed.
Well, thank you for the segue, because Rishi Sunak is planning to up the focus on maths. Will it work?
Oh dear. Look, if by the age of 16 you literally hate mathematics, in fact you probably play truant as often as you can during maths lessons,
Guilty.
How by 18 will you miraculously, like Rishi, go to Oxford, Stanford University and go and work for Goldman Sachs? I mean, the guy is showing you how totally detached he is. Now, mental arithmetic is easy, so I've got the solution. Don't keep youngsters in the classroom. Get them down the pub playing darts, OK? And if you can play darts without using a computer, you will have good mental arithmetic. Darts for everybody is what I would propose, not mathematics in classrooms where hardly anybody wants to be there.
180! If you can get that and you work it out quickly, you're a favourite of mine. I have no doubt that you've scored many 180s in your time. Thank you so much, my triple darting friend. And Nigel Farage will talk to you again very soon.